Daf Yomi Tractate, Sanhedrin, page 35. A, top of the page, with the word ukasiv, vatikach ritzpa bat aya, et hasak vatatehu la al hatzur b'tchilas katzir. And it is written in Ritzpah, daughter of Ayah, took sackcloth and spread it for her upon the rock from the beginning of harvest until water was poured upon them from heaven. And she suffered neither the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. 2 Samuel 21:10. It is clear from this verse that the bodies of the children of Saul remained exposed outdoors. Presumably they were hung. Uchetiv, Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Kach et kol Roshei ha'am, im ha'am chatu, Roshei ha'am machatu. The Gemara discusses the incident of the Israelites who worshipped the idol of Peor in the wilderness. And it is written, and the Lord said unto Moses, take all the chiefs of the people and hang them unto the Lord facing the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may turn away from Israel. Numbers 25 verse 4, the Gemara asks, if the nation transgressed, in what manner did the chiefs of the people transgress? The verse does not record a transgression of the chiefs, so why were they punished? Amar Yehuda Marav, Amar Lo, HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeMoshe, Chelek Lahem Batei Dinin, Mai Taime, Ele Mishum She'ei Danin Shnayim Bayom Echad. Ve'amar Rav Chizda Lo Shanu Ela B'Shtei Mitot Avol B'Mita Achad Danin. Rav Yehuda says that Rav says, the reason for selecting the chiefs of the tribes was not to punish them. Rather, the Holy One, blessed be He, said to Moses, apportion courts for the chiefs of the tribes, and each court will judge and punish the transgressors of its tribe. The Gemara asks, what is the reason that multiple courts were needed for this? If we say that it is due to the principle that a court does not judge two cases of capital law in one day, and there were many cases to be judged, that cannot be the reason. But doesn't Rav Chizda say this principle was taught only with regard to two different types of death imposed by a court, as each case needs sufficient time to be fully investigated on its own merits, but the court does judge multiple cases of one type of death, meaning one transgression on the same day. Ela, Kadesh Yishav Harun Afbi Misrael. Rather, the Gemara explains, the reason for the appointment of multiple courts was in order that the fierce anger of the Lord may turn away from Israel. The fierce anger of God would remain until those who engage in idol worship were punished. And therefore, it was necessary to try them in due haste. Dine mamanos, gorbin bo bayom, vichule, binahamili. The Mishnah teaches in cases of monetary law, the court may conclude the deliberations and issue the ruling even on that same day, whether to exempt the accused or to find him liable. In cases of capital law, the court may conclude the deliberations and issue the ruling even on the same day to acquit the accused, but must wait until the following day to find him liable. The Gemara asks, from where are these matters derived? Amar Rabbi Chanina, Diamar Kra Mileti Mishpat Tzedek Yalin Ba Yata Meratzchim Rav Amar Behacha Ashru Machamotz Ashru Dayan Shemechamet Et Dino. Rav Chanina said that The verse states prophetically concerning Jerusalem after the destruction of the first temple, she that was full of justice, righteousness lodged in her, were now murderers. It's Isaiah 121. The verse associates lodging or waiting overnight with justice, and Rava says that these matters are derived from here. Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed. Ashru Chamotz. Isaiah 117. This is interpreted praise, Ashru, the judge who delays, Machametz, his verdict before he pronounces it. V'idach Ashru Chamotz, v'lo Chometz. V'idach Ahimeleti Mishpat, my Avilei. And the other Amor, Rabbi Chanina, who did not derive this halacha from this verse, interprets it as meaning relieve the robbery victim, but not the robber, as do the wicked judges. The Gemara asks, and the other Amora, Rava, what does he do with this verse? She that was full of justice, righteousness lodged in her, but now murderers. Case of Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Damar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Yitzchak, Kol Tanit. Shemalin Boaz HaSedaka, Kaisher Shofech Tabim, Shenemar. Keilu Shofech Tabim, Shenemar Mileti, Mishpat Tzedek. The Gomer, V'hanim Yili Berifta, V'tamrei, Aval Bezuzei, Chita Usarei, Les Lamba. The Gemara answers, Rava interprets it in accordance with the statement of Rabbi Elazar, son of Rabbi Yitzchak, says, as Rabbi Elazar says, that Rabbi Yitzchak says, every fast day on which the distribution of charity is left overnight, this is considered as if one spilled the blood of the poor people, as they fasted all day in expectation that they would receive charity before the day was over, in order to purchase food with which to break their fasts. As it is stated, she that was full of justice, righteousness lodged in her, but now murderers, the Gemara clarifies, and this statement applies with regard to the delaying of the distribution of bread on days which are ready to be consumed, but with regard to delaying of distribution of money, wheat, barley, we have no problem with it. After teaching the cases of capital law, the verdict may not be issued on the same day as deliberations, the Mishnah states. Therefore, the court does not judge cases of capital law on certain days, neither on the eve of Shabbat nor the eve of a festival. The Gemara asks, what is the reason for this? What is the reason that the verdict may not be issued on the same day as the deliberations have to do with not judging a case on those days? Right? Mishum Delo Efshar Hechi Dami. Hechi Levad. Ladin Avalim Bimali Shabta, the DNA Bimali Shabtai Bali Shabta Dilma Chazut Tam Chova Uba'u Lemevad Halanat Din. Then Bimali Shabta Velig Mare Vishabta Vilakatle Vishabta in Ritzicha Doche et Shabbat Vilik Tele Liorta Negative Shemesh Binan. The Gemara explains it is because it is not possible to conduct the trial on the eve of Shabbat or the eve of the festival on the eve of, okay. As how should we act? If we say we should judge him on Shabbat Eve and conclude his verdict on Shabbat Eve, perhaps we would see a reason to find the accused liable, and in this situation the court is required to perform suspension of the trial until the following day, as the court may not issue a verdict in cases of capital law on the same day as the deliberations. If we say we should judge him on Shabbat Eve and conclude the verdict on Shabbat, and if he is found liable, kill him on Shabbat, that cannot be done, as the murder of one liable to receive court-imposed capital punishment does not override Shabbat. And if we say we should kill him at night after the conclusion of Shabbat, that cannot be done, as we require that the capital punishment be administered facing the sun, which means during the daytime. Vilig Moradina de Shabbata, Vilig Talibar, Becha Shabbat Nimsata, Miana Estino, Nidayan Ne, Bimale Shabta Vinig Bechad Shab Beshabata, Min Nishe B'Tamaihu, Af Al Gav Dishnei Sofer Hadayon, and Amdim Lifnehem, because Min Divrei Hamizakin, Vidire Mechayvin, Nehi Depuma Kosvin, Liba the Inchi Hilkach Lo, Efsher, and if we say we should judge him on Shabbat Eve, conclude his verdict on Shabbat, and kill him on Sunday, you are found to have caused a delay in his verdict, as the accused will have to wait overnight, knowing he is condemned to death. And if we say we should judge him on Shabbat Eve, and conclude his verdict on Sunday, the judges will forget their reasons for their positions in the interim, and even though two judges or scribes are standing before them, and they write the statements of those who acquit the accused, and the statement of those who find him liable, and they write that which emerged from the mouths of the judges, meaning that their tentative verdicts, the hearts of the people are forgetful, and they will forget the reasons. Therefore, it is not permissible to begin deliberations in cases of capital law on a Shabbat Eve or a festival Eve. Amar leira Reish Lakish, Rabbi Yochanan, utehei kvuras meis, mitzvah, derech Shabbos mikal b'chaymer, uma avodah derech Shabbos kvuras meis, mitzvah derech oisa mi'ulechoisoi. The Gemara discusses a related matter. Reish Lakish said to Rabbi Yochanan, and the burial of a corpse with no one to bury it should override Shabbat by means of an aforatory inference, if with regard to the temple service, which overrides Shabbat, yet burial of the mitzvah overrides it based on the interpretation of the term written with regard to a Nazarite or for his sister. Numbers 6-7, the Gemara pauses its recounting of the question of Reish Lakish and cites a Braita that teaches this halacha. Kedetanya ulavi vulimo ulachiv ulachosei ma tamud loymar hareisha hayu holech lishchot es pischo vilamulas beno. As it's taught in Braita, the verse states with regard to a Nazarite, all the days he consecrates himself unto the Lord, he shall not come near to a dead body. He shall not make himself impure for his father, or for his mother, or for his brother, or for his sister when they die. Numbers 6, verses 6-7. Why must the verse state all of these relatives? It teaches that if a Nazarite was going to slaughter his paschal offering or to circumcise his son, and he heard that, now we're on top of 35b, and we heard that a relative has died, one might have thought that he should return and become ritually impure with the impurity imparted by the corpse to bury his relative. You said he should not make himself impure. The death of his relative will not override so significant a mitzvah from the Torah.